S is for stories we read together. U is for you and me. P is for probably very cringy story. What's that spelled? It's up. Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we have some more RPG horror stories. I don't remember how many intros I've recorded for this batch of videos. I recorded a nice little batch, but in case I'm missing some intros, this is just a filler intro to put in for the videos. Either way, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. D&D party crosses the line. So yeah, long story short, I'm never playing with these dudes again. This was my first time DMing. It was about 2 to 3 years ago, right as the pandemic was waning. I got super into D&D lore and campaign crafting during the pandemic after years of just being a player. So I shot my shot at the game store. I started up a space-themed D&D campaign. I didn't use a Spelljammer preset campaign, but I did take influence from it. The players were largely locals from the game shop. I didn't really know them super well outside of the shop. They all knew each other fairly well though. So we had our session 0 and went over the theme of the campaign and what was allowed and not allowed. They rolled up a human fighter, an elf oathbreaker paladin, an Aarakocra ranger, and an orc rogue. The human fighter was kind of the leader of the party and the biggest that guy of the campaign. As we got into the game, I slowly began to realize that I was dealing with a party of murder hobos and sex pests. Anyone, including allied NPCs vital to their mission, or just random civilians who just so much as looked at them wrong, would get their skulls bashed in. And any planet we landed on, and they would ravage towns, encampments, etc. and act like a bunch of murderous, horny medieval knights with no moral compass whatsoever. 2 party members did end up getting killed throughout the campaign. The only person they actually listened to was the Duke of one of the main planets, who had them do this bidding. And of course they chose the most evil dude they could connect with to get their quest from. Okay, so we've got a bunch of murder hobo stuff, but what about the sex pest things? I'm kind of worried, but I'm curious to find out what's gonna happen with that. But all that pales in comparison to the tavern scene that ended the campaign. They went to a small tavern on a hollowed out asteroid. The tavern owner was a human male, whose daughters worked with him. The party came in, and they had just gotten done fighting a horde of Star Lancers that attacked their Spelljammer. As they were coming in, Aarakocra Ranger started hitting on the tavern owner's daughter. The tavern owner said, "Leave my daughter alone, you ruffians. She's only 13. Aarakocra kept going, so I told him that I'm not comfortable having to RP flirtation between him and someone who is that young. Human fighter tried to argue and said, "Stop being a pussy, it's just a game." I said, yes, it is a game, but we did set some limits in session 0, this being one of them. It's just the rules of the game. Good on you for putting your foot down, especially when it comes to somebody trying to flirt with a minor. Ew, dude, Jesus Christ. Don't make your DM try to RP this weird, uncomfortable situation. Do you realize how uncomfortable it would be for the DM? Well, of course they don't care because they just sex pests and murder hobos and stuff. Probably should have just dipped out of there, honestly. I feel like this was the time to just rethink the whole thing and just be like, all right, I'm just gone. Bye-bye, see ya, and spend your time looking for somebody else to play with instead of these guys. Then this is where things go real bad. Human fighter then just says, "There are no rules today. I shoved that old geezer into the wall. Boys, grab him." So the party easily knocked him out. He was a civilian. Human fighter then gave him a potion and bound and gagged him and said, "You gonna watch." The party all look at each other and grin as human fighter says, "Let's roll initiative, boys. I seize the girl and pin her down on the bar table. I rip off her dress, and then I say, no, you have to stop right now, or I'm removing you from the table." The party then shouted me down, and human fighter said, "Let's put this to a vote." And the party voted to do that. So I said, nope, I'm not running this crap. Goodbye. And I promptly left the table. I did return to the game store though, and eventually did start a new campaign with some friends from college who were at least willing to give D&D a try. But that first campaign was definitely by far the most disgusting experience I've ever had with this game. I have DM'd since though with much better groups. You know, this is a perfect lesson on what you should do in these situations. The entire party just full of idiot shitheads that just want to do something grotesque that you guys agreed in session 0 not to do. Say no, I'm not doing it, goodbye, and just get out of there. This is the perfect example of what you should do in these sort of moments. If it goes bad and you're uncomfortable, leave. Simple as that. It's not worth staying through. It's not worth trying to argue with them. It's not worth convincing them or negotiating anything. Just leave. because it's not worth it. No D&D is better than bad D&D. No TTRPG is better than bad TTRPG experience. Honestly, I commend OP on this whole thing. It sucks that you have to deal with such scumbags, but honestly, you find weirdos everywhere, dude. You can find weirdos all over, locally, on the internet, what have you. Either way, let's get to the next story for today. RPCs are just NPCs in our DM's poorly written story. We had just gone to level 5 and started our 9th session, when our DM apparently decided to take the campaign in a different direction. Our party, a Dragonborn Barbarian, Kobold Rogue, Half-Elf Bard, and I, an Aarakocra Cleric, are playing through Tomb Annihilation, the D&D 5e campaign. Last session we had just finished the dungeon and taken a long rest before we decided to get back to town for our reward. Leaving the dungeon, our DM narrated that there was a fog rolling in from the river. We asked if it looked like the fog was normal, and our DM said yes. I wanted to make a nature check since I'm proficient. The DM said it didn't matter since there was nothing special about this mist. Taking a few steps into the mist, suddenly there's an impassable fence behind us. Our party is discussing what's going on when we see a projectile hit our barbarian in the chest. DM didn't roll, dealing 98 points of damage, which was more than twice her max HP, killing her in one hit. Our DM states she is unconscious anyway and asks what we would like to do next. Wow, what a quick way to get into a gotcha moment. Guys, don't roll on the fog, it's fine. Oh, the barbarian gets hit for 98 damage. They should be dead, but they're unconscious. What would you like to do, guys? What would you like to do, my party members? God, this DM, Jesus Christ. What is up with DMs in these gotcha moments? Well, wait a minute. If I read the title correctly, I'm assuming that a great heroic DMPC will come in and swoop in and save the party and expect the party to be so gracious for the heroics and heroism, whatever have you. You know what I mean. Let's get to the rest of the story and see if that's what's gonna happen. At this point, I ask if we should roll initiative, but the DM says no. As the cleric, I heal the barbarian for 11 HP, but according to our DM, she stays unconscious. The rogue and bard are looking for a source of the attack, but the DM says they can't see through the mist. I clear the mist using gust of wind to where the attack originated, but I can't see anything with a 26 perception check. So 26 perception check should be way more than enough. How, DM? How? Ugh, I feel for these players. I've been in a moment where you roll like super high, but you still can't see it because the DC was just impossible. DM, just say you still can't see it regardless of the roll and just get on with it. Suddenly, a projectile hit my wing, disabling my ability to fly. I'm pissed off at this point, and I'm looking for any spell or item that could help us in the situation. I get hit by another projectile and drop unconscious. The bard and rogue try different things for half an hour, but get downed eventually. Wake up in an unfamiliar area somewhere near a forest and see a path going in. The barbarian had an arrow sticking from her chest and is told to take it easy. No healing or medicine check helped. I'm told my wing is detached now and have to carry it around for the considerable future. A dwarf we met before is sitting near a pile of stone next to the forest, but he's unable to give us any useful information, and any check we make to understand where we are is amounting to nothing. Exhausting all other possibilities, we go into the forest. Wait, so hold on, wait. Did I just read this right? The Aarakocra just has to carry the wing in their hand the whole time and like carry it around with them. Why? Why do you do this to your players? We get to a big tree, but there's nothing there. Continuing to follow the path, we get back to the dwarf and the entrance of the forest. Again, looking for clues amounting to nothing. So we go into the forest again. We now get to a ruin with absolutely nothing in it, and continue. You guessed it, we're back at the dwarf. Going to the forest again, we see a little girl holding a doll. Asking her name, how she got here, where we are, or where we should go does nothing. So we're again left with no info. The girl wants to follow us, but we decide to leave her. We go into the forest a few more times, which is different each time, but we still get no info. After 4 hours of playing this way with no combat or social interaction, we decide to kick the pile of stone next to the dwarf and go into the forest again. We see the girl with the doll again, but ignore her. After exiting this time, we see a Wendigo type monster where the pile of stone used to be, and are asked to roll initiative. In the first round, the monster casts Entangle on the backline, restraining the bard, rogue, and cleric. We deal a lot of damage in the next few rounds, but are unable to see any change to the creature. Eventually I ask if we are free now because Entangle is a concentration spell and we did a lot of damage. The DM looks at me and says that this monster does not have concentration. We feel like the monster has taken no damage at all, but the DM is writing everything down, so we should be doing something, right? Wrong. We did absolutely nothing when the girl with the doll appears and casts one spell on the creature, killing it instantly. Oh my god, dude, this is D&D, not an Elden Ring intro, where you're supposed to just lose the first encounter no matter what you do, and have some Deus Ex Machina creepy girl come out and just defeat the monster. What's the point of your party doing damage and casting spells if they're not gonna have any effect? At this point, just tell them you try to use a spell, but it has no effect, and let them keep those spell slots and stuff. Just say you're just immobile. You can't do anything. You're helpless. At this point, instead of having them waste the resources, the girl says we can leave the place by only making a wish. So wish to go back to the time before we got sent to this place, but the DM says no. We try a few more wishes so my wing is reattached and the barbarian is healthy again, but nothing works. Then we just ask to go back and wake up at the front of the dungeon where we started the session. In the time that we were gone, our party mascot and our guide got killed, so now we'll have difficulty going back to civilization. Our barbarian is still wounded, and I'm still unable to fly because I have one wing. After the session, the DM said to me that I lost my wing because I was not proactive enough when the mist rolled in. Was not proactive enough when the mist rolled in? They asked to do a check for this sort of thing, a nature check, and you said it's pointless because there was nothing wrong with the mist. First, you didn't let them roll anything, and second, when they rolled a perception to see where the attack is coming from, they got a 26 and still couldn't do it. You decided to dismember the wing on your own, you jackass. This DM f***ing sucks, dude. Holy shit. What do you mean proactive enough? What do you expect them to do? Did you communicate to them they can do something? No, you didn't. You said it's pointless to roll for the mist because it looks like a normal mist, guys. Hurry. Except it wasn't a normal mist. And it couldn't be proactive because they didn't know what the hell's going on. You didn't let them roll on anything. Once they did roll, it didn't matter. Nothing the players could have done would have mattered. You literally created this contrived situation where the Aircocker lost a wing just because. Nothing they could have done would have mattered. Nothing at all. None of the healing apparently worked whatsoever, and it was pointless. You made it pointless. You, DM, created the situation. The players couldn't be involved in any of this whatsoever. At least I don't see where the players could have been proactive enough. The only way players could be proactive is just leaving the table before the situation gets stupid. But that means they'll have to be able to see into the future to see that that will be the outcome. I'm sorry, DM, that the players aren't omniscient. They're able to see into the future. They aren't fortune tellers. Sorry, I guess. I don't know. Let's just say I'm not going to ever go back to a game run by this DM. We got no info. We made no difference to the story. Rolling bad or good had no effect on the outcome. Our boss battle got interrupted by an unliked NPC. We got maimed and our mascot got killed. Our DM had 4 players that wanted to play and we were invested in the story. I don't get how he can ruin a pre-written story easily like this. This is a perfect lesson in how to ruin a story and how to ruin fun for everybody, including themselves. If the GM continues running stuff like this, they will never find players that want to stick it out for whatever reason, because none of it made sense. Whether you roll or don't roll, it doesn't matter on the effect or the outcome. Then what's the point? Did you want him to interact with the girl? Do you want him to interact with the dwarf? They did try and interact with the girl. They did try and interact with the dwarf. They got no info for it. Here's the worst part. Even with this situation, they still try to interact to gain info and they got nothing. And somehow they're supposed to read the DM's mind to figure out what they were supposed to do. They tried rolling and they couldn't roll in some situations. Whether they rolled or didn't matter. Whether they used abilities like Gust of Wind, didn't matter. Nothing the players did or didn't do mattered in the situation. And that is the most bitter thing here, dude. That is the most bitter thing. Players are actually interested, they want to interact, and nothing they do matters in the slightest. God, I'm pissed. I am mad, dude. I'm pissed. It's like almost 4 in the morning, and I'm more mad than hell right now, dude. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.